Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have to apologize because I feel like it's been so long since I've sat down and filmed a video. I have some videos that are pre-filmed, mostly because I knew how busy we were going to be over the last few months, but I really had no idea, like I just couldn't imagine how it was going to be. Life has been crazy. So I figured I would just sit down and do like a life update, let you guys know what's been going on in my life. I feel like it's been crazy, and I know this time of year is crazy for everyone, so I'm sure you guys all know exactly how I've been feeling. Anyways, it's all good crazy, but crazy nonetheless. I do want to say that I have so many videos I want to film for you guys. If there's anything specifically you want to see, please let me know. I mean, I know what I want to share, but I don't know what you guys necessarily want to see. I know you guys love hair stuff, and I love talking about hair, but there's so many other things that I love. I want to do like a pantry organizational video, mostly because when we moved in, I felt like my pantry was so beautiful and organized. But now it's like been a few, well, 2 months, and I'm like, what happened to my beautiful pantry? So I need to declutter all that, redo it all so you guys can see that if you want to. I have so many hauls. I'm like so behind on haul videos that I could share with you guys. Do you like hauls? Do you want to see more hauls? I have so many baby things to share with you guys. Do you like that? What do you want to see from me? I really want to give you guys what you want this year. And when you guys enjoy it, I enjoy it. So it's good for me. It's a win-win. I also wanted to say really quick, I've started getting a few of you following me on Instagram because I've recently started like adding my Instagram handle so you guys can follow if you want, and it's been so fun to connect with you there, and I've gotten so many messages and just so much support, and I love it. So if you guys do want to check out my Instagram, everything is linked below. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram if you'd like to. I definitely share a lot more there. I love Insta stories, and I probably share too much of my kids. Like, you guys may not want to see me gush over my kids all day, but if you do want to see more of like the personal in real life stuff, not that I'm pretty personal here, but if you want to see the like in real life stuff, definitely follow me on my Instagram. Anyway, so I'm just gonna get into kind of what's been going on in our life, why it's been so crazy, why it's been so hard for me to sit down and film. And actually I have filmed, like over the past few weeks I've sat down and filmed a few videos, but they were just so scatterbrained, and I had the kids, and I normally try to do it during naps, but I've been so busy that I've needed their nap times to work on other things. And so the kids were like, are all around, and you guys are always really kind when the kids are around, but I know it can be distracting, and I know they can be loud. So it's hard to sit down and really talk to you guys. So I have filmed videos, and I've sat down to edit them, and I was just like, I can't even upload this. So if you've seen my videos in the past, then you can only imagine how bad those videos were. Anyways, so let's get right into the life update. The first big thing was in November. It's January, right? Okay, so in November we moved into our new house, and that was obviously like a huge big thing. This was our first house, and I really had no idea like everything that went into buying a house. I thought it was like once you find one, then the hard part's over. You found your house, but then it was just getting the loan. Everything was just so chaotic, and everything was pretty smooth. I think the process in general is just a lot of work. So I mean, nothing really crazy happened, but it was just a lot of work getting the loan approved and getting everything to go through. And then I thought, okay, moving is going to be so fun. I'm going to declutter. Everything's going to be so wonderful. And yeah, it was really fun to declutter and kind of pack and see, and then come home and set things up where you want them. But moving itself was a headache. Just moving in general was so much work. Luckily, we had so much family that was willing to help us, and people watched the kids so that I could just work and clean and get things organized the way they needed to be. And that brings me to my next thing. A lot of you guys have requested that I do like a home tour when I mentioned that we were moving into a new house, and I think in the last video maybe I mentioned that we had just moved into our new house. And I would love to do that, but I'm struggling. Like, I want to share it with you guys because, sorry, my dog. I want to share it with you guys because I love it, and I am so grateful, and I'm so happy, and I just want to share it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's not clean enough today, or oh, I just don't have everything decorated the way I want. And another big thing is I feel like we don't have enough furniture, and it will all come in time. I didn't want to just like move in and buy a whole new living room set and a new bedroom set. Everything will come, and I enjoy the process, so I don't want to just like do it all at once. I want to like build and find treasures and find things that I love. But the point is, like, we like don't have furniture. Like, we have like a dinky little table and like little stools and like a dinky little couch. Like, we just don't have our house furnished. It's not the way I want to share it, especially like that's just not what I want to share. But regardless, I could do a house tour, but I'm just kind of like, a little bit of perfectionist in that sense, where I'm like, I don't want to share it and like, I don't know. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not perfect, but I understand it probably never will be perfect. Like, I could probably spend millions of dollars decorating and furnishing my house. That's not going to happen, but I could, and I would still not be like, oh, I can't wait to like, it's never going to be perfect. So I will do a house tour if you guys want to see that. And then I guess as I go through and decorate each room, I could share that. Right now I'm really focusing on the nursery. I'm redoing the nursery, probably because that's the easiest one and it's just so fun. So maybe I'll do a nursery tour if you guys want to see that. I love her nursery. I think it's so cute and I just love girl stuff. I love the girly stuff, so it's so fun for me. Then December came around and I wanted to share with you guys, I actually filmed a December favorites video, so I really want to apologize that there was no December favorites. If you look forward to those videos, I filmed it and there were so many things I loved and wanted to share, and then I couldn't upload it. It was just, the kids were going crazy. Actually, what happened is halfway through the video, Noah took his diaper off, and then like the rest of the video, he's like running around the background naked. And so I was like, I could blur it out, and was, no, just refilm it. So I think what I'm actually going to do is just put my December things for January and then yeah, go that way. So sorry if you missed the December favorites. I'm sure everyone was busy, so you guys probably didn't even miss it, right? Okay, so in December, so we moved in, okay, the first week that we moved in, we had a plumbing issue, and like I said, this is our first house. I'm not very handy. I'm learning to be very handy because I'm telling you guys, owning a house has like taught me so much, like just little things, like I have to figure it out now. I can't just call the landlord or whatever. So the first week we lived here, all of a sudden, this is so gross, all of a sudden our toilet in our guest bathroom started like overflowing like all the time, and so we were like, okay, that can't be normal. And so my husband went with a plunger one time, and then it would like drain back down. And so my husband went with a plunger one time, and then suddenly the toilet started backing up into the bathtub. So now I have my bathtub filling up with toilet stuff, yeah, gross toilet stuff, not water, and it was so stinky and it was so disgusting. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go down into the basement. We have a completely unfinished basement, and so you can kind of see like everything underneath and see what's going on. And suddenly we notice our basement is also flooding with bathroom stuff, okay? So then our basement is flooding with bathroom stuff. So fortunately, this is a new home, so we have like a really good warranty, and I was able to call the warranty people, but at this point it was like midnight on Sunday, and they have an emergency line, but once I got a hold of them, it was really hard for them to get a hold of somebody. So finally, the next morning, they got a hold of like an emergency plumber, and he came out and he solved the problem within like 30 seconds. Like he just walked down there, oh, I'm sure I know what this is, and he just like kind of popped off part of our plumbing and pulled out a cap, and I guess they cap it off so that they can test all the plumbing, make sure everything works, but then they forgot to remove the cap. But when he did knock out the cap, it did again like explode into my whole basement, all of this disgusting stuff. So that was a nightmare. I mean, once it was resolved, I was like so relieved. I was like, whatever, I can clean up this mess. Like, I'm just so glad my house isn't falling apart. I just thought, oh my gosh, I just bought a house, I just moved in, and it's falling apart. And I was like, what did I do? What did we do? You know, I was just having all these crazy emotions. Fortunately, that resolved itself, but I was just like, oh my gosh, it's just like so hard. And I don't know how many of you guys are out there, like the stage of life right now is just hectic. I have these 3 babies that need so much love and so much attention and so much care, and in addition to that, I need to do like other things, like adult things, and I get overwhelmed extremely easily. So this year I have so many goals to try to keep myself from being overwhelmed, and now I'm getting off tangent, so I'm gonna rewind so I don't have to delete this video. But anyways, so that happened, and then the next week I got in a car accident. It wasn't really a big deal. It was like a sandwich fender bender. I was in the front, someone got sandwiched between the person behind me. It wasn't a huge deal, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like just another thing adding to the list of all the little stresses of life, because we know there are so many little stresses. Like, you know, I don't have time for the big things. I don't have time for tickets and car accidents and I don't know, you know, the things that are like, oh, why is this happening right now? Why is this happening to me? And then the next thing I know, Noah and his brother were playing on like a fireplace hearth at my mom's house. And Jacob pushed Noah off of the fireplace hearth because they were playing, and it's really not that high off the ground. It's probably maybe a foot. And I think Noah, because he fell and he wasn't really expecting to jump, he fell wrong on his leg and he actually broke his leg. And it was kind of like a tricky situation because Noah is not quite 2 yet, and so he really can't verbalize what he's feeling and he can't explain to me why he's hurt. But I kind of knew instantly when I saw him on the ground. Luckily I was in the room with them. I knew instantly that his foot was broken, but I didn't want to believe it. And I was at my mom's house all alone. So I called my mom and I was like, hey mom, can you come home? I'm pretty sure Noah broke his leg. I need to take him to the doctor. And I really didn't even second guess, like, well, maybe he just fell and he's crying because he fell. I kind of knew. And the thing is, for whatever reason, I woke up that morning. I went to sleep that night and I woke up that morning just with this thought in my head that you need to take care of Noah today. Or not just today, just in general. You really need to take care of Noah. Something bad is going to happen to Noah. I just kept having that feeling. And I don't like to dwell on those negative thoughts, and I try to push them out like nothing is going to happen. Like, Noah's fine. And as soon as it happened, I was like, that was what I was feeling. Like, that's what I knew. Anyways, so we ended up taking him to the ER, and he did get x-rays and he did break his tibia. And so then they could only put him into a splint. If your kid has ever broken a bone, I guess you've experienced this. I've never broken a bone, so I didn't understand or know this. I was expecting them to put a cast, but they just put a splint, which is basically like a hard shell, and then they wrap it with like an ace bandage so that the swelling can go down so that they can put the cast on. Otherwise the cast will go on and then the swelling will go down and they'll slip the cast off. So we had to wait another week. And at this point he's in a lot of pain and he's too young to understand, like, stop moving your leg. He won't walk on it, but he will keep hitting it on things, and he was like having tantrums. He didn't like this big thing on his leg, and I couldn't explain to him, you need it, your leg is broken. It was honestly probably like the hardest 2 weeks of my life, this whole like broken leg, splint. Then a few days after we got his splint on, he was just acting like I had never seen him before. He was not happy at any moment of any time of the day. He wouldn't take naps, and then at night for about 3 nights in a row he did not sleep at all. And I'm not exaggerating, he literally did not close his eyes and fall asleep. I mean, that was hard, as you can imagine. I needed sleep. I have like a 6-month-old baby, and I have Jacob who I have to take care of, and Juan has to go to work and has to do things, For us to not sleep at night for a few days was really, really difficult. So in addition to like it being a hard situation just because our baby was hurt and it obviously in so much pain, we were exhausted. So we were like mentally and physically like unable to like comprehend, and so like for like 2 days he was like that, and I was like, what is wrong? Like, is his leg in that much pain? We were like rotating ibuprofen and Tylenol trying to get rid of the pain for him, and he was just completely irritable, like needed to be held and cried even while we held him, like could not be consoled. It was really hard. Like, that by far is the hardest time of my life. So I took him in. He wasn't due to get a cast for a few more days, and I took him in to the doctor, and I told them, I took him in before, like I just was waiting there and like at 7 o'clock in the morning waiting for them to open, like begging them to put a cast on him because all I can think is that he keeps hitting it, and so he's hurting. That's the only thing I could think, like maybe this will help. I'll try anything, right? And so I get there and the nurse is like, I'm really sorry, I wish we could help you, but the doctor's not in today. And then they were like, tomorrow, like come tomorrow, we'll get this cast on him. And so I went home, and then suddenly I noticed that his face started breaking out with spots, and then all of a sudden his hands were getting spots, and then his whole body was covered in spots, and I realized that it was hand, foot, and mouth. So Noah had gotten hand, foot, and mouth right after, I'm assuming, he broke his leg. And the thing is, they feel like so sick and they are in a lot of pain with that disease or illness. They are in a lot of pain for the like first 2 days before their spots start coming. So in retrospect, I could see that those days and nights of like no sleep and just being inconsolable, those were, you know, just related to his illness. And then once the spots started coming, he started feeling a lot better, but he obviously was still in pain with his leg. Luckily, right then we got the cast on, and that was so much better. He learned how to walk with his cast, and so once he had his cast on, he was good. His illness was gone, and then he had his cast. Okay, so then once he had his cast on, he was good, and I felt like everything was good again. And then he got his cast off like 2 days before Christmas. So like the day before Christmas Eve, and then we went to like this Christmas party that my husband was having for work, and Noah had climbed up onto a dresser and jumped off of it like the day he got his cast off. And so at that point I was like, okay, he just re-broke his leg because it was obviously still weak and fragile, and he wouldn't walk again. So I was like, let's just see kind of how this plays out. Like, I don't want to rush to the doctor if we don't really need to. And so we kind of waited to see what was going to happen. And the next morning he still wasn't walking. And then finally, like halfway through the day, he like walked. And I was like, okay, if he can bear weight at all, then it's not broken. Which is good, because that morning I spent the whole morning calling any doctor's office that would take him, or anywhere that was open, or a place where I could buy a boot for him to wear. Everything was closed for the holidays. So I was so grateful that Noah's leg was okay. That was definitely a very stressful situation. I think it's hard when your children are hurt, and broken bones are probably really hard. But at his age, it was just like really hard, because I couldn't explain to him and he couldn't explain to me, and we couldn't really communicate because he's too young. The good thing though is when they're that young, they heal really well and really quick. So he did. He still limps just a little bit now, and I'm sure that will all be gone. The doctor said like that's normal, so don't worry about it. So then we had Christmas, and that was like wonderful but busy, you know, busy because that's how Christmas is. And then we had New Year's, and that was wonderful but busy. And I honestly feel like I have just lost like months of sleep, and so I feel so exhausted all the time. And Malia, I feel like, is having a sleep regression because she tends to wake up in the night like every 2 hours. And I know that it's probably time to sleep train her, put her in her own room, or do something. But at the same time, I kind of feel like this might be my last baby, and I'm just trying to soak it all in. So for me personally, I don't plan on sleep training her. As long as she wants to sleep with me, I have her actually in a bassinet next to me. I tried to always put her back in her bed, but she just wakes right up and then wants to like nurse again. So all night I'm like a cow, like just letting her feed on me. And I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm trying to enjoy it and just like soak it all up, but it is hard to not sleep, you know, it's hard. So the next big thing is that we need to get our basement finished. So like I said, we bought a new home, and here in Utah, most homes are built with basements. I know like when I grew up in Vegas, that was not a thing, like nobody had basements in their house. But here in Utah, like everybody has a basement, and usually when you buy a new house, it's not finished. So we have to finish our basement, and that is the new biggest stressor in my life, because we don't necessarily want to hire a general contractor. We kind of want to subcontract or do what we can on our own. We're hoping that if we subcontract, we can save like a significant amount of money on doing that. So that is our next biggest project. I actually really want to share the process with you guys. I don't know how interested you are in seeing that, but I feel like it would be really helpful for me if I was in somebody else's shoes, if I could see someone go through the process and kind of know the steps. So if you're interested in seeing more of that, I do plan on kind of going through how it goes, like updating you guys. It is an empty space, and I'm actually going to do a whole video for you guys, just showing you guys what is down there now and what our plans are. And if you guys want to see that, like, let me know, because I want to share it, and I hope that it helps somebody maybe who's in my situation, or people just like to see. I mean, I love to watch the most random things on YouTube, so I feel like that's the world that we live in now. Like I said, if you have any comments or any suggestions on things you want to see from this channel this year, definitely leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And thank you guys again. 2017 was an incredible year for me. I appreciate you guys. I hope this video helps explain kind of why I've been missing in action a little bit, and I hope that you guys can follow along as we get back on the train. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next one.